Good morning, everybody. Orange A here with another War of the Visions video, and today's video is going to be a long one because we've got a lot of new stuff and upgraded stuff dropping this Wednesday in War of the Visions. Vision cards, gear, units, master ability 2s, EX jobs, it's all over the place. So I'm going to try to timestamp this one in an effective way so you can skip around to the parts that really interest you. But let's just get into it. Let's dive in and let's start with the actual new content dropping this week. That's going to be 3 new vision cards for the Final Fantasy 13 Collaboration Week 2. Now, here's the TLDR on these vision cards. I think if you're an elemental player of that element, each one of them is a must get. You have Lightning's card, Odin's Chosen. It's AoE resist up, lightning attack up, critical evade up. Literally a top tier group buff for any PvP lightning group, and lightning attack up will help in PvE as well. You're getting accuracy and attack up for the unit wearing it, crit damage, crit rate up for lightning. This will take her to a whole nother level, and I think people who have been using lightning right now and might be feeling slightly underwhelmed, this is the final piece to her puzzle. This is her global upgrade. I think this will unlock her really good card. Hope's card, Alexander's Hope. This is the free card that's being given out, and the big deal about this card is it's a light element buff with damage limit up. So you can pair this with something like Two-Headed Dragon for PvE comps and really boost your damage cap if you're going for those high scores. That's going to be super useful. Plus magic accuracy buff for the group is nice, then magic attack up, AoE resist, and then for Hope, his global buff is magic up and duration up on his buffs. I don't think that buff is enough to like make Hope top tier, but I do think that card for light PvE teams is definitely something you're going to want to go for if that's your element, and it has the added bonus of being given away for free, so all you have to really worry about doing is finding the shards, not pulling. Then Shiva's Chosen. This might be the most OP of the group. We already have been seeing the power of Snow. His vision card is going to give ice units defense piercing rate up, ice attack up, and wind resist up. So really solid group buff right here, especially for your all physical ice teams out there. Then HP up, unit attack resist up for ice units, and it's the Wombo combo for Snow. He's also going to get healing power up and area attack resist up. This is an insane global upgrade for him, because if you've already experienced the overwhelmingness of his self-heal, it might just full heal him after he has this card equipped. I don't know. Healing down going to be a very effective strategy for fighting Snow. It already is. It's going to be even worse after this card comes out. So if you are a Final Fantasy 13 player and you love one of these 3 units, or you're an elemental player, these cards, in my opinion, are a must get. However, they are not the only limited cards coming out this week. We're going to go into the Final Fantasy Tactics part of this video next, so buckle up for that. Here we go. I'm going to start with the units, and I want to start with Orlando, probably the second, maybe the first or second most hyped one with Agrius. Here's the deal with Orlando. He's getting his 120. We already kind of looked at those stats in last week's preview video, so I'm not really going to go there. They're plenty good. Let's look at what got upgraded for him right here. His master ability. Previously, he had 5 defense, 10 slash attack. For like week 3 of the game, that was just fine. But for now, that obviously kind of sucks. So now what he's getting is upgraded skill, all swordsmanship Thunder God. We'll check that out here in a minute. He's getting the HP and lightning attack buff up for his group. Defense and slash attack are staying the same. That's not getting touched. But he's getting 30 defense pin, 10 slash resistance, 15 missile resistance, and 15 magic resistance. Like, oh my gosh, his master ability 2 is really good. And then when we go to his skills, we can now look at what his EX upgrade is going to bring him, as well as the buff that he got to his new ability. So here we go. Let's check it out. First of all, stronger armor breaking point thrust. His cheap 15 AP 5U skill that was a defense debuff is getting an upgrade. It's still a 25 defense debuff. The damage is going up to 165% from 121, which is real good. And it has that added 30% hit chance to help him fight evasion teams. So throw a little accuracy on this guy, a little accuracy group buff in there, and he now has a very accurate single target attack to snipe out some of those evasion units. Now, Black Lion Emblem, this is his single, his self-only attack buff that also nullified Blind, Paralyze, and Sleep. That's getting EX upgraded. The attack 40%, that's staying the same. It will now give him AP restore 10% for 3 turns and increase his AoE resistance by 40 for 3 turns when his HP is greater than 70%. So he's going to come in, he buffs this on himself, and if his HP is above 80% or 70%, 40 AoE resist. Really good buff for him now, and something you're going to want to have turned on, especially because it now can maybe take the place of a Bell's buff for him with that 10% AP restore. Super good upgrade right there. And then that's not the only thing he's getting. He's getting his job level 25 ability. This is a medium ranged AoE attack that will dispel ignore fatal damage, so courage removed. Then it decreases slash resist for the target by 30% for 3 turns and does 165% damage. So this is useful for PvE as well with that slash resistance debuff on there. 165% damage, removes courage, a super good move, especially because it hits in AoE and only costs 25 AP. Now, Sword Saint, nothing changing there. Samurai, yup, nothing. Still Knight's what it is. His limit break is getting an upgrade. Let's look at that. Previously, 200% damage in a big AoE, and in its time, this limit break was insane, but 58 AP was really expensive, so you really had to prioritize bells on him, and it gives him haste. Check this buff out. Now, it still does 200% damage, still gives haste for 3 turns, and if the target has one or more of the effects, haste, which he will have, increase debuff resistance by 50 for self, and decrease AP consumption 25 if hasted. And that AP consumption decrease goes along really nicely with the fact that the AP cost of his limit break goes from 58 to 43. So you can see what they've built into his kit right here. A little more damage, a little more I should say a lot more damage and a lot more survivability, combined with the fact that he now has his own version of bells, or at least his own form of 10% AP restore and less of an AP cost on his ultimate. He's a unit who will just go right back into the mainstay of this game, being a high tier DPS unit, taking care of himself with a super good self buff. Yeah, Orlando's back. He's going to be great. Pair him with all those other top tier damage dealers in your lightning element. Okay, next up, Agrias, getting her master ability 2 and EX upgrade. Previously, her master ability, 15 single target resist. In its day, that sucked. This is a lot better today. Even this old master ability aged super well. Single target resist is very nice, especially if you can combine it with AoE resist, especially on your tank. So a really great master ability here that scales now well. She's getting the HP and ice attack buff for her group. The single target goes up to 20 and she's getting 15 spirit. So overall, it doesn't look like a huge master ability 2 for Agrias, but she's getting more HP, more attack, more single target resist, and spirit. She is becoming a lot better tank. It doesn't have to say a lot of things to be super effective. That's that. Let's look at her skills. Knight's Faith. This is her agility and spirit support skill. It's getting a big upgraded to include 5 initial hate and AP consumption down 20. This 5 initial hate is a huge deal. Agrias previously had to rely on either a vision card, gear, or taunting blade to get hate. Now she can walk into a fight with hate. That's a massive deal for messing with the enemy team, and it stacks well with her new master ability spirit. You can really stack a lot of spirit on her. Agility is great as well. You can run defense and HP with that to really become a little bit more well-rounded of a tank, or lean all into spirit with some more spirit and agility. If we look at the rest of her buffs, her stop attack, right? This is one of her more potent moves because AoE stop is kind of broken. It is a shorter range, but again, 4 square AoE attack. It will now dispel auto revive. So re-raise remover still does 200% damage, will now gain a plus 30% hit chance. So again, making her better at fighting those evasion teams, gives some accuracy to the group. She can use this move, which is an AoE move that can stop people. Really strong move for Agrias right here. You'll love to see it. Okay, what else is she getting? Her job level 25 ability is a barrier breaker and protect remover that does 165% damage. It's only single target and the range is medium, but still a very good move. And that's Agrius, right? That's what's getting upgraded on her. Her limit break is actually staying the same, so nothing special there. Overall, Agrius becoming a better tank, and she's still going to do Agrius things like inflict a ton of status effects on the enemy team. She's going to be super, super annoying to deal with. She's going to immediately be back into an element ice that just got snow. The snow Agrius combination, do not sleep on that. It's going to be very, very good. Okay, let's look next at Delita, the most slept on unit, let's say, of the 3 URs. Now, Delita's old master ability was attack 20%. Really not terrible. Attack 20% kind of nice. He will now get a reduced physical damage taken 50% 3 times for himself. So he's going to walk into a fight with a 3-hit 50% physical damage shield. That's really nice. He gets the HP fire attack buff, the attack 20% buff stays the same, and defense pin 30. So more survivable, especially against physical, a lot more damage with this 30 defense pin, and the group buff. This is a very good master ability to upgrade for Delita. But let's look at his kit, because his kit is ultimately going to be the thing that decides whether or not he's actually going to make a stand now. His support ability is getting upgraded. Acquired AP up 50% is also now gaining 25 accuracy and 40 slash attack resistance penetration. Very good. 40 slash resist pin on a master on a support ability is worth running, and acquired AP and accuracy are a great thing to pair that with. I think you could run this in combination with Desperate. This is self-sacrifice for that 60% attack buff, and Delita could look like a really high damage dealing unit with that setup. Okay, in his main job, his Sword of Causality here is getting EX upgraded. This is a 200% damage move that decreased fire resist 48%. The decreased fire resist will now happen before the damage applies, which is a big deal, and then it still does 200% damage. So this is going to be his hardest hitting move. He's just going to have to be up on you to use it. Definitely the drawbacks of this move is it's range 1, range height 1, so he's not going to be like dropping bombs from across the map. But if Delita is allowed to get next to you with all of his damage buffs and slap you with a 48% fire resistance debuff and a 200% mod attack, really, really strong. Then his new job level 25 skill is a long range AoE attack that dispels re-raise and does 200% damage. Really hard hitting move. Re-raise remove is super good. So look for Delita to just do a lot more damage. Honestly, like that's kind of going to be his thing. He does have stone throw still. Yep, that's all I gotta say about that. Anyway, that's Delita. That's what he's gonna do. Yeah, he's still just Delita after that. I do not have him yet, so I can't really speak to what he is in the current state of the game, but I definitely want to pull him. I want to continue to build up fire, see if it can compete with ice, because ice is around for a while, guys. Ice is here to stay with the snow and Agrius tanks joining this game. Now here's Ramza. Ramza, in his day, was a PvE god because of all his multi-hit abilities. Is he returning to that? Well, let's check it out. His old master ability was slash attack 10, HP 10% for himself. Not terrible, but definitely outdated. Now his limit break is getting upgraded. HP and light attack buff for his group, slash attack 10 turns into slash attack 20. HP 10% for self stays the same, and he is getting slash attack resist pin 20. Now Ramza is a hybrid damage dealing unit. He is a physical and magic based attacker, so a slash attack resist pin buff is good for both those damage types. That's nice, but let's go look at his skills. What else did our boy Ramza get to try to make him more than a PvE kind of meme unit? Well, let's find out. First of all, this is his cheap move. It now is getting a defense and spirit debuff attached to it. It is becoming a ranged AoE attack instead of a ranged single target attack. 160% modifier stays the same, scales off of attack, and decreased defense penetration for the target. So, this is good for PvP and PvE. A defense debuff makes him an even better PvE unit than he already was. He might become a staple of light PvE with this, or at least somebody who's going to be really easy to use in light PvE now. I love this upgrade. This is a super cool move, and decreased defense penetration for the target. He's a unit that can remove defense penetration. So if with a bunch of other beefy units who are stacking defense, I can see that being really good. Yeah, we'll see. Okay, his triple attack is still here, so he still has his 3-use, 3-hit slashing attack, which he always need. And then crying. It's not called crying. It's called Shout, I believe, in Global. This is his big AoE buff. It was a really, really good move in Global when he first came out, and it kind of lended Ramza into a more high damage support unit when he released. Now, check out the upgrade on this buff. 30% attack, 30% bravery, or 30% attack, 30% magic, 20% bravery buff for allies. It now is a 60% attack, 60% magic, still 20% bravery, and grants protect in a huge AoE. This skill is nuts good. Like a 60% attack and magic buff with protect and bravery increase is insane. That is an insanely good buff, so look for Ramza's supporting to be nice, and he kind of is coming along as maybe a PvP sleeper with this buff. Also, his job level 25 ability will reduce his damage taken by 35% for 3 times, increase his slash attack by 25, and increase his single target resist by 20 for 3 turns. A really strong buff. I think you will want to prioritize his group buff first, then that as his single target buff. I see the problem I see for Ramza is his new upgraded skill here that you're going to want him casting in PvP is such long range. I can imagine it being hard for him to get both of these buffs cast on most maps. So, but still, the upgrades are really good. I just don't know, Light's so good already. Can Ramza slide in there and become a part of it? Now, his limit break also got upgraded. Let me scroll out from it here so we can get that whole thing on the screen. Whoops, that's pretty close. It's just that all that it's cutting off for some reason is the 100% hit chance. Ultima. Now, this is a magic damage move from Ramza. It's a long range, and it was one of our original 100% hit attacks in the game, especially considering it was a 100% hit AoE attack. That was nuts for back in the game. For back in the day. Now it will dispel buffs, dispel haste, break barriers. The damage goes from 200% to 240%, and it's still a 100% hit chance. So is there a world where like Spellblade Magic Ramza is really good? I don't know, kind of no, probably, but who knows. His limit break did get a nice upgrade. That's Ramza. That's what the main character of Final Fantasy Tactics is getting. I still envision him as a PvE light unit with some better uses in PvP. Hopefully some people can show his skills off for me in PvP and maybe prove me wrong there. Now next, here's Mystadio. MR unit, not a giveaway like free to build unit when he came out, so a lot of people skipped him. His old master ability was 30% accuracy with an increased chance to inflict mobilize, disable, and blind. This was insane. Like, this dude in cost limited situations, if given the right setup, could be devastating, right? He's only a 60 cost unit, and he can put status effects on people. He will now give Earth allies an HP and stop resist buff. His accuracy and his status effects stay the same. He's getting 1 increased range and counter move off. So I just think overall it's a good buff for him right there. If we look at his EX upgrades, what's getting upgraded? Maintenance is a debuff resistance buff for allies. This move sucked before, like this was really worthless. Now it is still the debuff resistance is still pretty bad, but it is also giving a 30 accuracy buff to allies, so that's really nice, and increases his range by 1 more, further making him good in PvP cost limited situations. Rapid fire, his 3-hit attack is getting upgraded to be an evasion debuff. That's kind of cool. So he's going to have a role as an anti-evade unit now, as well as his old role of, Seal Evil, which is a 10% chance to inflict Petrify for 1 turn. And if you land this, Petrify is a kill. Now, when we're talking about we're talking about our boy Mystadio here, though. Petrify was not amongst his buffs, right? So he does not have that 200% chance to inflict Petrify, but Petrify's an insta-kill. You petrify somebody, they're dead. So you can run this right here and go for the insta-killing attack. Otherwise, you do have a nice blind right here, You also have Immobilize and Disable right here. You have a lot better chance of just running him as a Disable bot unless you want to go for that Petrify cheese. The Disable is 165% modifier. The Disable is a 200% modifier. So if you run them both, he will prioritize this one because it hits harder. Keep that in mind. His new job level 25 ability is a missile attack resist pin for himself and 165% damage with piercing, so it'll hit everything in the line. This is more DPS for him. Overall, I think he's still going to be what he is, a status effect inflictor for limited cost PvP situations. He's just going to be better at it than he was before because he now has a good group buff and can hit from further out. Good Mustadio buffs, really leaning into what he does. Now, Gafgarion. When Gafgarion came out, he was billed as the MR unit, or UR unit in an MR disguise. In my opinion, he never lived up to that. I never thought that he was that. However, he was pretty good for an MR unit in his day. His master ability was initial AP 10, which is really good, and critical damage 25. Both of those are real good and scale into the modern game well as well. He's getting HP and sleep resistance for his group. The initial AP and crit damage stay the same. He now gets to pair that with an increased critical hit rate, and when he's over 70% HP, he will have 25 defense and 25 spirit. Hopefully the thought there is this will help him live through getting hit by an attack. A drawback of Gafgarion is, even though he could deal some good damage, if he got caught in an AoE or something, he would just die. With this extra 25 defense and spirit, maybe he won't. That's the thought there. Let's look at his skills. What got upgraded for our guy here? So Deception, this is his self-only human killer buff. Again, a really good buff. It will now also give him attack 40%, human killer 30 stays the same, and slash attack 40. This is a massive steroid. Like, they're just going all in on Gafgarion's role, as if he can get in there and do damage as an MR unit, he's gonna do really big damage. That will help. Also, Sword of Darkness. This was his 121% modifier attack that absorbed the damage dealt. Now, it will increase his slash resist pin by 30 and then do 165% damage. So, more damage, slash attack resist pin, very good. If he can live through an attack, maybe he can lifesteal it back. It is what it is. I do think it's a good move, though. He does also get a defense debuff just for this cast. So this is not something you can use like PvE to lower the defense of a target, but this attack should hit pretty hard. It's an AoE attack, which I think he needed a big time AoE attack for himself. It also absorbs 30% of the damage done. However, he will prioritize, if you leave it on, Evil Blade, I think, unless you need the defense debuff. With Evil Blade consumes his HP and then does 225% damage. So in low defense targets, he'll prioritize this. High defense targets, he'll probably prioritize that. Both are medium range AoE attacks. That's Gafgarion's upgrade. MR unit that can do a lot of damage if you can keep him alive. Okay, that will conclude the Final Fantasy Tactics Units portion of this video. Now we're to the Final Fantasy Tactics Vision Cards portion of this video. Starting with Red Chocobo, the MR Vision Card and Esper. This is how Red Chocobo works. It's a magic scaling card for light element groups, unit effect magic up, party effect light attack up, additional party effect Dark Killer 20. In cost limited formats, like truly cost limited, this is a cheap card that will help your light element teams fight dark teams. That's what this card's for. It's going to just do that still, so go for it if you want it. It's coming back out. It's an MR card. There you go. Now, I actually forgot to pull up the Esper here, and it does come with an Esper, so let's go check that out. Here's Red Chocobo Esper getting its upgrade. It's still going to be a very fast 18 agility MR Esper. Don't sleep on that. That's a big deal. 18 agility is very nice for an MR. Has a lot of attack on it. So unlike its Vision Card counterpart, this is an attack scaling one. If we look at the tree, slash attack, dark killer, dark resist, more attack, accuracy, crit rate, missile resist, and then some bird killer on there. So big time damage dealing Esper right here. This Esper looks very, very strong. Pick this thing up if you can. Build this Esper for especially cost limited situations. It's going to be really strong. I like it a lot. Next up, let's go. Well, I have Blades of Grass. This is Delita's Vision Card. Now, here's the deal with this one, and I'm going to put the game back on the screen here for a second, because Delita's Vision Card is getting a buff for Delita. So let me go, let's see here, we got to find that real quick. Let's see, sometimes this crashes my games scrolling through this. So Blades of Grass, keep in mind that Ramza and, I guess Ramza and Delita, but mostly Delita, are getting slash attack resist piercing rate up and slash attack up as a global upgrade from this card. Also, the card gives 154 attack, 331 HP. It increases the attack by 20% of the unit wearing it, increases accuracy of the group, which is pretty nice, and for fire element units will give critical hit rate 25. This is going to be a strong attack-based fire element card, especially for Delita, with that global upgrade. Next up, we have Heir to Bulov, or Scions of House Bulov, as it is on global. This is a very powerful card because it is an agility buffing card for light that gives slash attack 35, so really good for like light chaining teams, slash attack for the unit wearing it, and once again, we have a global upgrade to talk about right here. Let's scroll back up. The global upgrade is for Ramza, attack and light attack up. So this card for Ramza himself, getting that attack and light attack up, this might be a great thing to combo with Ramza in those PvE teams. So that's our global upgrades for the Vision cards right there. Scions of House Bulov and Delita's card, I personally missed on Scions of Bulov. Whoops, wrong button right there. Let's hit this button. Back in the day, I only got this to level 55, so I need to level that and Delita's card as well. Okay, next part of this video. Let's talk about gear upgrades that we're getting, starting with Lazalia's Guard Sword. Now, I confused this in the news video with Excalibur, which we got on day 1 for free. This was kind of our second really good accuracy sword we got in the game. This is Agrias' sword. Previously, it was nice because it was a 20 accuracy sword that gave some slash and ice attack on it and had 162 damage, which is real nice. With the +1 that we'll now be able to craft, damage goes to 178, accuracy goes to 28, which is nice, and crucially, the ice attack goes from 8, like it was before, to 30 now. So a big DPS buff at 30 ice attack. That is going to be crazy good for Agrias, who again, I'm telling you guys, the Agrias snow combo is real. It's coming. Be ready for that. This sword is going to be great for her. Okay, next up, Nagnarok getting its +6. Here is something I'm going to talk about right here. What they are doing with this Final Fantasy Tactics collaboration is something a lot of the more casual players who want to still achieve some level of high score in high-end PvE should appreciate a lot. Nagnarok +6 is all about increasing max damage by 1,000 with a one-handed slashing weapon. This is a very easy thing to farm. The +6 has 194 attack, slash attack 15, and damage limit up. There are a lot of people in this game who do not want to farm the runes to make damage up runes for PvE, but yet slashing chains are usually the way to go. You now have access to the Golden Blade, which is a two-handed sword, and Nagnarok, which is a one-handed sword, both of which at +6 can give you 1,000 damage limit up, the same buff you could go get from runes. So that will really help the more casual players who want to go, who don't want to farm runes. Even if that's the only way you're casual, this is a nice little upgrade right there. It's probably not best in slot for PvE. You're still probably way better off going for a better sword and using runes. However, some people just don't want to mess with that. They can't be bothered. So here you go. Here's +1,000 damage on a sword. Coral Sword is getting its +6. Previously, this was Orlando's best sword right here. It now has 149 attack instead of 124. And the new abilities on it, you still have lightning attack 30, that's the same as ever. Slash attack 15 is the same as ever. You're also just going to catch 10 critical hit rate. So a nice little critical hit rate buff there to help Orlando do even more damage, not like he needed it. Overall, this is not a huge buff to the weapon, but if you're an Orlando lover or you like to have Charlotte do damage or something like that, this +6 looks pretty good. Okay, next up, Cloud Cut. we are also getting, as we're moving on to the part of the video now where we're not talking about Final Fantasy 13 or Final Fantasy Tactics. This is just other stuff they decided to patch into the game today, or tomorrow, including Water Selection 11, 12, and 13, which comes with this really, really good katana for Raychez. 172 magic, which she's a magic scaling unit, and 26 crit is really good. For anybody who uses it, you're going to get slash attack 20, and if your name is Raychez, you're going to get slash attack penetration 20, critical damage 10, and initial AP 20. Do not sleep on how good that initial AP 20 is. Raychez is an incredibly strong Selection Quest unit. She's also very, very good in PvE chaining teams. And when you're thinking about PvE chaining teams, initial AP is one of the most OP stats you can get. Because if you're running out of AP, it means you stop doing chains. 20 AP at the start of a fight for her is a big deal. I really, really like this. I will definitely be farming this one out because I use Raychez in my water/chaining teams. Now, speaking of PvE things that are good, sortilege. Now, in my news video today, after I posted the correct version of the news video, I said sortilege is a garbage item, and I literally was thinking to myself, what could they actually do to make this item not totally suck? Because this item is real bad in its current state. However, they might have thought of something to make this item good. There's a shield and barrier version, both of which are getting 2 more of their respective stats. So shield 2 more defense, barrier 2 more spirit, whatever. That's like really pedestrian. Everybody can wear that thing, but here's the deal. Previously, blind resist, evasion rate 8, meh to both of those. But now, when you form a critical hit with the +6 version of this, you will give yourself a +20% attack and +20% magic buff. Really interesting right here. Now, I don't know how many turns this lasts. I'm going to guess 3 turns. Here's the deal. This might be a really good thing for PvE teams, right? Like, being able to give yourself an attack steroid while not having to spend a turn buffing it could make your later chaining attacks hit max damage. This could be a really good PvE chaining piece of gear now. At least it's a good option for newer players who are looking for ways to increase their damage in like Trials of Reckoning bosses, guild raids, regular raids, anything like that. This is a super easy way to do it. Just get your units to crit and then have them walk out there and steroid themselves with both attack and magic. Is it going to be best in slot? In my heart, I think probably not. Might it be the best for you? Yeah, if you haven't farmed a whole bunch of other stuff, it absolutely could fill some gaps for right now. So a good, clever idea with sortilege. Props to the development team for that clever buff. Now, we also got 2 random master ability 2s added into the game with Adelard and his sister Salir. Adelard, previous master ability, Magic 25, Dex 10. Honestly, a really good master ability for an MR unit. He will now give fire allies HP 10% with frostbite resist 25. Do not sleep on that. If you're fighting ice teams with this guy, that frostbite resist could be clutch. His magic buff doubles to 50%. He's still getting 10 dex, and he will gain 15 pierce and missile resist. Overall, pretty good buff for Adelard. Still just probably a jamming thrust bot for you with some clever supporting mixed in. And then Salir, who is a 65 cost MR unit, which just makes her super awkward to put into teams. She previously had magic 20% and magic attack 15, a really good master ability for an old MR unit. And in her day, Salir was the real MR unit that was kind of like a UR in disguise, and Magical String is still very, very nice as a TMR. In fact, both of these units have great TMR items. Just keep that in mind. Now, her new master ability, HP and Confusion resist for lightning allies. Confusion about to be a thing with Agrius in the game again. Magic buff goes from 20% to 30%. That's nice. Magic attack goes from 15 to 25. She now will drop aggro at the beginning of a fight and guaranteed hit for 3 turns for self. So she's just 100% accurate for the first 3 turns of a fight. That's a pretty cool buff. Salir looks to be another high damage dealing mage from the MR spot if you're building and using her. And guys, finally, that is the end of this video. This is a 35-minute Tuesday video, which Tuesday videos are usually about, 10 minutes or so, but there was a lot of stuff coming to the game. If you watch this whole video, you're literally a legend on this channel. Thank you so much. If you just watch parts of it, hey, thanks for that too. Appreciate all your guys' support. Good luck on your polls tomorrow if you're polling. I will be live Wednesday after school when I get home. Hope to see you there. Have a great day, everybody. Peace.